Good evening, and big up to everyone jumping in. Klopp topics, Manchester United press conference, guys. What's going on right now? There's been a lot going on in the ether. It's been a blockbuster Friday, as everyone might have noticed. Lots of breaking news, guys. Let's get into it really quickly. It's your boy Mark, an MUFC fan, and you know what? It's the daily update. Manchester United press conference reaction, and I got my boy in the background, Admiral Drex, coming in hot to bring his views, guys. Let's start. Let's get going. If you're new, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you could tell when you're live again. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it around, even share it on YouTube, Twitter if you want to. Get everyone involved. Let them come have their say. Let's get going, guys. And big up to everyone coming in. You know, I got my buddy Drex right there. You know how it goes, bro. What's good? What's really good?
I'm good. I'm all right. How you doing? How's everybody doing? Big up yourself. Kenny Fan TV, I see you. Big up yourself. Stephanie Griffney. Is it Stephanie Grifty? Is it Grifty or Griffith? Griffith. My bad. Big up yourself, Stephanie. Thanks for always pulling up and supporting and showing the love. Yeah, and big up to you watching from anywhere you're watching in this part in the world. We say a happy weekend to you all. Guess what? It's Friday. It's Friday for some of y'all. It's already winding down. For myself, I'm just getting into the meat of Friday. So yeah, big up yourself. Big up yourself, Mark. How's everybody
bro.
doing?
And today was the manager's press conference, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got a chance to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
But it was pretty interesting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's ahead of the clash. Ahead of the clash with Newport County, as well as we face Wolves on, I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I what's the word? I was able to follow up with some of the. It was crazy though because you managers press conference, Manchester United, the game who's got a game to play on Sunday against Newport, right? And the first question he was asked was about Jurgen Klopp, which in my opinion I was like, what has he got to do with this?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
can the man just breathe? Like, So I'm like, okay, if you want to go that, I know, like they said, it was more like there's more of the embargoed section is gonna come out later, right? But
Yeah, it should
in
be
my
out
head,
now, actually, to be fair.
yeah, in my head, I'm like, yo, you have 5 or 6 questions. You decide to. They actually asked him 3 questions, if I'm not mistaken, right? And it's got to do with what's we call it, Jurgen Klopp. I'm like, it is what it is. Though. But all in all, the way he responded some of the questions was good. I think he said he made mention of the goalkeeper starting. Right, it was a little bit. He also, I think we're going to talk about the goalkeeper starting. That's Bayern there. Then he also talked about the confidence at which he had. I feel like from the way he sounded, he's gotten some sort of confidence from the new appointment.
100%. I feel like, I think a lot of people would have a lot to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of people had a lot to say.
Hmm.
And you know what? With the new appointment, of course, it's going to be different from what we've always had. But at the same time, I feel like it's going to benefit the squad, benefit Eric Ten Hag, benefit the team in a lot of positive ways, because we always asking for structure. We're always asking for better football, people behind the scenes. And you know what? We're actually getting it. You
I
know?
think I'm
So
having a bit of network issue this morning. I don't know what's going on. All
yeah,
right, go
we're
ahead.
having it. So like in one of in my honest opinions, I'm just like, you know what? Is I just hope that we could have the patience and the time, to let things proceed, not try to be in a rush to have success. You know what I mean? Because at
Yeah,
the same time, if we rush things, it might just make things, just make ourselves put ourselves in a situation where we feel like, it's not working, it's not happening fast enough. We need to have patience.
we
And
need to.
10
I think we need to slow down. Like it is what it is. We like I think it was you I was mentioning to the other day. I can't remember who I was, my brother or something. I was like, we want an average United fan, right? Especially like the 20s, the 20 between the 18s and the thing like 18, 16, and maybe like 25 or 24. They haven't they success we witness, right? So right now, when they see the likes of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and the rest getting wins here, right? It feels like, okay, what's my club doing? This is what I should be doing, but they don't know that the long term of mismanagement has will always catch up with you, right? So for now, we all want most United fan wants the win, 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 win. So we want the win, and I don't blame them because you can't have it's like having your kids go to school and they see other kids coming with different set of toys and all of that, right? And they are like, "Ah, why am I not getting it?" Like, and they know for sure that daddy or mom can actually that their parents can actually get it for them, but they're like, why am I not getting it? So they tend to like to want to throw tantrum. Some of them so I don't blame them. It's what you see, right? Because you have fans from other club, like, okay, getting excited that they get a win, but you don't know what to expect, on a match day. So it's the win win win. That's why it's so much pressure with United. Is so much pressure. The A manager who's not got I actually looked at a manager who's not got a strong spine would break with the pressure that comes with United, and even some players as well. So some of us, we tend to know this, but the majority, I don't know if it's the majority, but I just feel like the younger ones, they just feel like, yo, it ain't working, move out, get somebody else, somebody can do it. But you don't deep down how huge United is. Like, you don't like. Let's go. I think in the course of the show, because I don't want to spend so much time dwelling on the fans, but I just feel like we should be. I know we're patient enough. I wouldn't take it away from United fan. An average United fan is patient. They want to see their club get back to winning ways, which is normal. But at the same time, we've not had it great, or we've not had a very good system behind us, right? Backing the manager, behind the manager. I tell you, if Sir Jim and his board and his bodies were here when Mourinho was here, trust me, they would have won the league.
you know, it's
Because
weird because as you say it like that, like if we operated as a big club, like the big club that we are, if we have been operating like the big club that we are over the past few years, I feel like it would have certainly been more productive, we'd have had more options, more
Mhm,
success along the
mhm,
way. I certainly feel like at Man United, we've spent badly for the last
yeah,
decade. We've
yeah,
brought in sometimes the wrong players.
mhm,
I feel like we've not supported the manager as well because, like, imagine, right? We sack a manager
mhm,
that wasn't working, but the same set pieces that will be having problems under that manager 4 years ago, those coaches don't get fired as well. We don't
100,
change them. So
yeah,
it's like, how could we improve if we don't improve everyone across the board? And now that we're going down this road, I think maybe this should have been the steps taken around the same time we hired Eric Ten Hag. Because I
mhm,
mean, we knew we was getting him in by April that year, and we could have hired a CEO time May June. You know what I mean? And now
mhm,
that we have the CEO in place, I feel like we might start to see a change in the timing of signings. We might see players coming early. We might see exits happening early as well.
yeah,
Might not be no deliberation over 2 weeks if we're going to sell our player or not. It might just happen over 2, 3 days. These are the things I'm looking forward to seeing because right now, lots of people have different opinions in terms of the fact that maybe we should start a young team, go for the future, buy a young striker, build for the future, or have experience in between with that. We shouldn't be buying players
mhm.
over the age of 30, these kinds of things. But at the same time, I say, we don't have to do a full reset in the manner which Chelsea did, which they
Mhm.
saw 22 players change last season, and
Yeah.
then they change another 15 this season.
Yeah.
But we could do a process where every next couple transfer windows you see five players go, five, six, seven players come in, which is
Hmm.
not a bad thing. Now they don't have to be blockbuster signings in the terms of 70, 80 million, 100 million players. They could be 20, 15, 10, 5. Like a lot of people saying Ericsson leaving. Like Loran could be a good option to go and grab from Brazil for 8 million. 8 million. These kinds of signings. Now, a lot of people think it's terrible that we're not getting any signings in January, but I think it's also like for me a kind of bonus in a way. It could be like how to put it, bro? Like a blessing
Like
in disguise.
blessing in disguise. Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to know something. Like for me, we have young talent that should get chances.
Hmm.
No, we're not allowed to bring in any players. So look, to have a young player just come back from loan, Charlie McNeil, slap him in as a backup striker. It's our Rashford, take him off as a left winger. Never play him on the wing, just play him through the middle as a backup or as a
Hmm.
starting striker. Alternate the three of them, the three of those strikers.
Hmm.
Hoyland is the main man. Rashford alternate. When Hoyland start 7 games or 5 games, they get Rashford to a start.
Hmm.
You could bring
Hmm.
in McNeil now and again. I feel like right now we need to evolve. And when I say we need to evolve in such a way that is progressive. Like,
Yeah.
people, and I see in this in keeping with the energy, if we're not giving Anthony a chance, there's no time talking about giving Rashford a chance. People argue Rashford is better off the left, but I'd argue his best ever season in terms of output was coming playing as a centre forward. And
Hmm.
if people could argue it, but the stats are there. He was starting as a centre forward and scoring the most goals ever in his career. So I would say, bro, he found his position. But other people argue he's better off the left. I don't see it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's one of those things. I am as well. I watched the press conference. I was pretty happy with the statement that Ten Hag made. He was happy with the appointment. He was like, this guy, his views, my views, Ineos views, they all
Hmm.
align. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And this is the kind of direction you want United to be going in as a United fan. I
Hmm.
think anyone would be happy with this. And then he went on to talk about Anthony Martial because he was asked about Anthony Martial, and well, for sure now we are not getting.
It's striker. Yeah. Yeah. He said
Understand?
that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those things, guys. It's one of those things, and it's like, yeah, for me, I would have liked to get a striker in, probably a Benzema or maybe even
Hmm.
a Benjamin Sesko, But
Yeah.
at the same time, I could take a step back and say, well, look, let me ride it out with Hoyland.
Hmm.
He
But
starts
that
scoring
that's
goals.
that's that's dangerous because you just have the young kid to rely on. Except
No,
you
well, you
want.
see, in my honest
Okay.
opinion, I was never relying on him as the main goal scorer. For me, it was
Hmm.
always going to be Marcus Rashford. And
Hmm.
that's not just because of last season, it's just because he's the most senior attacker in the team. So
Yeah.
he would be the one who have to carry that burden, which he has never done. So maybe last season you could say he was doing it, but I'd argue that he had lots of help from Bruno,
Hmm.
who was the second top scorer, who actually had more output than him last season in the Premier League. It's
Hmm.
just Marcus had what, 2 or 3 or 4 GA more overall after the end of the season. I think Casemiro had 12 goals, Fred had 12 goals. It was one of those seasons where people argue and say Rashford was so amazing, but at the end of the day, he only scored 17 goals in the Premier League.
Hmm.
He might have scored overall 30 goals, but
Yeah.
it was 17 in the Premier League. Like, bro, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
I
So,
hear.
we class in Hoyland as a striker and we want him to hit 15, 20.
Hmm.
And this as a young striker.
Yeah.
Marcus
Yeah.
Rashford as a winger, not even meeting the top class winger statistics, because top class winger statistics is 10, 15 assists a season.
Hmm.
He's never been there, ever. So for me, this is a good time for the new owners, the new CEO to assess certain players and, you know,
Yeah.
see what they're going
Yeah.
to do in the summer and attack it from the angles that they need to attack from. Make a
Hmm.
statement. You know what I mean? Next topic. You know that. What do you think about not getting a striker in this January window?
Oh, I like. You remember I told you earlier before that, like, I really don't. Um, I wouldn't make a fuss about it. Do we need one? I think so, but you can't have an Anthony Martial on the table and still get in, because the next person you get, let's say for example, Anthony Martial is on what, like 250, if I'm not mistaken, 220, right? No less than 200, right? Now you get an Anthony Martial. Anthony Martial is already here for another 6 months. That be like Anthony Martial. So you already have. So you need Anthony Martial to actually um leave, so you could bring somebody in. No, because you can't have Anthony Martial here. Let's say except you want to go bring somebody in where by the time they come in, you're paying them like what, maybe £50,000 a week, right?
Probably.
You understand? So by the time you do all the loan thing and this, okay, the club is gonna pay X amount of a percentage of this X percentage of this guy's wages, and it comes down to like between 50 or between 40 and even at 70. I'm saying it's too much, because that means you're paying Anthony Martial about 250 or 220. Then you're gonna add another 70 to it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you could actually say, okay, it makes sense. But the best thing is, that person you're gonna get, is it of top quality? Are you getting, you understand? Because if you want to get somebody like a Benzema, right? Fine. People might still argue that Benzema would not come for the money, right? But he's not gonna come for free. And definitely it's not gonna come for £100,000 a week.
100%.
So you're going to be looking at, maybe if you're so lucky and it's so kind in your favor, you might be looking at 170, 200 a week. Plus Marshall's, that's like 400 and what? 400 and 400, let's say average of £400 a week. On the business side, it doesn't really make sense, but who are we to be looking at the business end of it? We all know the club is broke, but now if you put that logic into perspective, right? Consider that as a variable and consider Marshall's as well. Not getting a striker now really hurts the season. Nobody can say, right? Because we have a front three of Hoyland, Genasho, and Rashford starting at the moment, but we could still mix things up by maybe putting Anthony to the left, or Genasho to the left, and playing Rashford as the 9 when you have to rest Hoyland, right? So, and don't forget, it's not like we have 2 games a week like we had last season, or 2 games every 3 days like we had last season. It's basically one game every week, right? So
100%.
so the workload is reduced. So I think these are the variables they would have factored in. I'm like, you know what? Is here a risk that we can take, right? And they look at it. I'm like, you know what? Let's go with this risk. We can take this risk. Let's go with it. Anthony Martial, we all know is not going anywhere. Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, they came for him and tried, but we know it's not going to. So for some reason, maybe they would have even said, "Don't worry, when you're done with your thing, we'll pick you up at the end of this." I am so curious, and I can't wait to see where Anthony Martial ends up. You know why I say so? I feel like he played a smart one on United, right? But I just
100%. Big up Manu
because
Tata, bro.
because on his wages, if he goes by this German transfer window, he might not be getting what he wants to get, right? No, no, who's gonna pay him 220? Ask yourself.
True. And I mean, there's the one thing as we talking about, like fans could argue that Anthony Martial probably did this and he have this ability and he had this promise or whatever. But
Hmm.
what I have received as a Manchester United fan from Anthony Martial in the last 3 4 years, 3 years, let's say, right, has been nothing short of, yeah, pay me and I'll just take that money and enjoy it. And if I don't feel like playing, I'll not play it because when we needed him, he say, "Listen, I want to go out on loan to Sevilla." You know,
Hmm.
when we needed him last season, he was the glass man again, and injured for critical points.
Now
We
we
need
need
him
him.
he's hardly played a game this season.
Now we need
And
him this
we
January. Is
need him
strict.
to leave. And he
Now we
don't
need him
want to
to
leave
leave.
so he
He
could
doesn't want
collect
to
money
leave.
while
Yes,
being injured. For me,
it is what
I've been done with some of these players for a
it's
long time.
it's the
Like I would
mentality.
always
But it's the
hope that they
mentality
do.
of the player. So this this kindly actually kicks into the next thing about the Omar Berada thing with Ten Hag, right? Like these are the things that we've been crying out for. Like, yo, you can't be having a player run down. Now, this is another player yet that's going to run down his contract. Player that you should have gotten 10, 15 million from last season, or even low as 8 million from last summer, right? But you couldn't. Now it's going to run down his contract yet again, and you people want to tell me John Mota is good at his job. Like yet again, you're going to run yet another contract. John Mota was there when he ran this guy's contract to the ground. Lingard, he should have gone for even. I know United wanted like 25 from West Ham, but even at 15, take it and
Yeah,
leave.
sell.
Because guess what? He ended up leaving for nothing. And they said West Ham did not get him. So that's why I'm saying I'm curious to see where Martial ends, because Club Galatasaray and Fenerbahce is coming to actually want to take him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's budging. At the end of the day, I want to see where he goes to. I want to see where he goes to.
And you
You
know what?
understand?
Like Manu Tata is asking, is what Marshall did ethical or strictly professional? In my opinion, is neither of the two, because professionals would take a severance package and leave. They know they're not intending to stay anyway. You know what I mean? I think it's selfish on his behalf, because
Let me let me
basically
let
he's
me
been
answer.
receiving a salary every more from being injured more than actually playing for the club
Let
and
me answer
performing.
Man Lutata. Remember when Rashford had that straight at back strain or something like that, right? That he said it was. Then he took out time before the season. He said he was going to do a surgery. I think he did the surgery, and or he took out time to rest. Marshall knew this. It's not Marshall didn't just find out this groin or whatever issue he has now. He didn't just find it out. According to Lambole, the agent, he said this is something that's been there that they've been thinking of. Why is it now that you'd have dip it down Manlo Tata? I don't know if you're a United fan, but just dip it down as a boss. You have a company, then your employer, because you have a contract with that employer, he finds it out, okay, it's going to be leaving by the end of the year. Okay, you know what, by the end of the season, you know what, let me go on my own leave, which is medical, and get paid and leave. Think about it that way. Why
Yeah,
didn't he?
that's how I'm
Why didn't
thinking
he
about
start?
it.
Why didn't he start? Why didn't he say, okay, in the summer, last summer, because you've been having these injuries, right? And United fans don't really know what the injury is all about. But now you've known that it's this type of a thing. Why didn't you take the beginning of the season? Why didn't, oh, beautiful man, Luther, I respect you, respect. Three times I said
Respect.
respect. Remember, what's his name? Jose Mourinho, respect. So I'm saying that he should have done this at the start of the season, because guess what? We already had injuries galore at the start of the season. He should have done this at the start of the season. If he actually wanted United any interest, if he wasn't looking for him selfish reasons, do it at the start of the season. By that's 10 weeks. By now, you should be ready to go to. We know we don't want you to stay, but try to see how you can convince the board to see if they can give you something like an extra 1 year extension or something, right? Because
Exactly.
they don't have the money and all of that, right? But no, you had to wait for when you know for sure that your contract is not going to be renewed. You had to wait. Which for me, if you look at it from Martial's point of view, if I'm Martial's sibling, or if I'm Martial's friend, I'm like, yo, bro, I would tell him on the one hand, but you know what you're doing is wrong. But on the other hand, I'm like, okay, you're playing it smart. You make
Yeah,
money while you're
exactly.
resting, and your Lambole, your agent, is trying to get to your agent is telling other club, like, you see, he's had this problem that has plagued him almost all his time at United. He has already fixed the problem. We just need time to heal, and he's back again. Sells that idea to the next club, and they buy it. You see what I'm saying? So he's on the one hand, he's playing clever, but on the other hand, we as United fan, we see it as he's being selfish. Honestly, that's
One
it. That's
hundred
what I'm saying.
percent, bro. 100% self. And like Marsh coming here, Marshall fans is call him the glue. Well, the glue is unstuck. The guys call him the glass man, fragility expert. You know what I mean? Touch him and they
Martial
break him.
Martial should have, in my opinion, right? Now you're looking out for yourself towards the end of your time at United, right? Which most United fans, because people tend to say the club has a way of just letting, the way we let players go is so, it's so it's so irritating and not good, right? It breaks down like a card.
Like a car.
Um okay, like a car. Oh, okay. So I'm saying that,
Yeah,
why
floppy
didn't you look,
floppy, bro.
why didn't you look out for yourself? Because I know Rashford actually did this. He looked out for himself. Because the season he actually did it, he knew that he was going to go into another season where he's going to be playing for his contract. So he had to fix himself so he could get to a fitness level and play for his contract, right? So in my opinion, Marshall should have taken. But is there's nothing wrong looking out for yourself. Nobody should get me
No,
wrong.
there's nothing
I'm
wrong
saying
with that, you know.
there's nothing
But
wrong looking out for yourself. But at the
at the
same time,
same
you
time,
have
we
to
looked
be
out. I feel like he always was ever looking out for himself, and now it just seems
financially,
like he
in the
just waste.
financial
Just
aspect. Yes.
you know what I mean. Alter
Yeah.
buying their stats. You know, this is very big for United and United fans, in my opinion. Let's just see what he has to offer because I'm not expecting him to go and put in a masterclass, but I just want to see what he have to offer. I hope in Cameroon put in a masterclass today or tomorrow it is, and send Nigeria home.
Even if no, even if Nigeria gets a win over Cameroon, I don't see Onana starting in that game against Newport. I don't
Well,
see it.
Alter is already started. And they already
So
told.
that's
He
that's
already
what so that's what I'm saying.
he
Either
said that in
ways,
the press conference.
yeah, the manager says
No, no,
what
no,
do you
no.
call it?
What you understand? What do you understand? I talking about the game against Wolves.
Oh, the game against Wolves. So you want Onana to start
Playing
in
Wolves
that game?
On Wednesday, the 30th.
Bro, I tell you still, if Onana for some reason doesn't qualify after Saturday, right? He's still not going to start that game. I tell you this for free. Take it off. Take it. Take it to the bank.
I hope it not in the back of my mind, but I just want to have a contingency plan,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
contingency plan is Afcon. You know what I mean?
Onana stays at AFCON for as long as he can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You go straight to the final, bro. The semi-final or something. You go straight to the semi-final, buddy, and then let Alte keep 2 games in the Prem. Let me win them 2 games as well. So when you come back, it's like nah. Alte is having on a roll right now. You hold tight. We played 2 or 3 more games. If we happen to lose, then maybe you could think about Onana.
Hmm.
But right now, bro, yeah, I don't want to see that guy between the sticks, my bro. Oh yeah, Wolves is Thursday. Yeah, big up to you, Manch. Big up for that one. Thanks for that information. So that means yeah. Wolves is on Thursday, the 2nd of January.
Hmm.
So February. So yeah, that's a big game for us. You know what I mean? And you know what? I feel like we're gonna get a win. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
climb the table a little bit. Slow but sure. 1 game at a time, 1 win at a time. I'm not gonna hype up anything too much. I think, Rasmus is gonna continue his goal scoring form, probably grab a goal, you know. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Anthony had to offer and what Ahmad had to say because these two fellas had to be fighting it out, duking it out now to see who go and claim the right wing spot.
Hmm.
In my honest opinion, going forward. So, I believe Anthony will come. He will come out and, sit and he will realize he needs to sit the haters all down. And I think Ahmad is gonna fight him all tooth and nail to get a position. So I think we're gonna have some goals and good performances coming off the right. And Garnacho off the left. People not thinking like, with the rest this team has gotten over the last couple of weeks, especially
Hmm.
with the lack of press attention in terms of Man United is this, that, and the other toxicity vibes, these things.
Hmm.
These guys could be having like a mental break where they come back refreshed and ready to perform, with
Yeah.
Martinez, with the mental monster coming back in central defense, Martinez.
Hmm.
I could see a positive and a stronger United going forward for the rest of the season. And I'll be honest, like I'm not sure where we're gonna end up, but I pretty much know this for sure.
Mm.
Top five, we is one of those clubs.
Hope so, brother. I hope so.
The next big news is that the last one of he has asked this question multiple times about
Yo, man,
about Jurgen Klopp.
I didn't know why they were asking this question. I felt like, yo, these guys are. What are you doing asking them questions like this? Like,
Bro, they tried to make it about everything, not just about United in a United press conference. So
mm,
the big topic today, guys, if you haven't heard it, the big topic in football today is Jurgen Klopp resigns effectively from May, leaves Liverpool's at the end of the season. Guys, this is tough. You want to know something? Like I'm a fierce rival fan of Liverpool, to be fair, because in my opinion, they are only rivals in the Premier League.
mm-hmm,
And well, other than our City rivals, which is Man City, I think everybody else is just a team we just play regularly. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean?
mm-hmm.
So, in my honest opinion, I'm not one to say to floss and gloss over any Liverpool, anything,
True,
anybody at
true,
Liverpool.
true.
But Jurgen Klopp deserves respect as a manager for what
Oh
he
yes.
gave to the game of football. I believe that no fan of football in any club, whether it be City, United, Arsenal, could say, well, anything bad about this guy. I think he was always a very good tactician. He brought a charisma to the team
Oh yeah.
performances, to the
Yeah.
to the game when he was at games. He's a fierce competitor and he always gave his best. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
hats off to him. If he has to resign for whatever reason it is that he
So
can't go on any
I
longer. I
haven't read
think
the report though. Still have to go read the report and find exactly um why he's leaving. You know.
Yeah, I don't know, but for whatever reason, he said he was quoted as saying in his interview that he'll be taking a year off of football. He will not be coaching any club or national team for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he just wants a break. Maybe he's just tired. And Manu Tata coming in, his club resigning because he won't have Salah next season. I mean, you never know. It might be a lot of issues. He might want to get certain players, and FSG may not want that. And he had 7 years of dealing with FSG, in my opinion, who like
Mm-hmm.
they're one of those cheapskate bosses. They don't. They instead of treating you respectedly, they just try to give you the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah. I
fair
get you.
treatment. It's bare minimum, and I don't like that kind of stuff. And I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I don't really know too much about what happened with him and FSG. But I know there's quite
Mm-hmm.
a few players he wanted, he didn't get, and quite a few players he was given that he turned into big players like Mo Salah,
Mm-hmm.
and those guys. But at the same time, hey, Eric Ten Hag said eras come to an end, and this is Liverpool eras coming to an end, as we could see with the 115 charges at Man City, that their era is probably going to come to an end. Maybe, maybe not. It's still up in the air. The courts still have to have a court proceeding and still have to have a
Mm-hmm.
result, and then you never know what could happen from there. Excuse. But at the same time, guys, football is evolving, and as we go along, Eric Ten Hag might seem like the worst manager this season, but can implore you guys,
Mm-hmm.
we could we could all be Eric Ten Hag out right now, and then Liverpool has signed Eric Ten Hag, and Liverpool smashing us up every week with Eric Ten Hag in
Ooh.
as the gaffer. I don't know about you guys, but my embarrassment levels would be on maximum. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I might give away my season ticket, bro. I'm being honest. If that kind of thing happen, bruh,
I don't want to even think about it.
exactly. You
100.
know what I
I
mean?
don't
So
want to
right
think
now, this is
about
why I
it.
keep saying to everyone, patience is key. Let's not rush to get rid of a
Mm-hmm.
manager who came in and in his first season got us third, take us to 2 cup finals and won a cup. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think one season not doing so good is not that big of a deal, especially with the changes and rebuild that we know that was supposed to happen,
It was supposed to happen. Yeah.
that wasn't happening in the order like it should. Now we're
Yeah.
taking a lot longer, but sometimes you just can't control these things. So it is what it
True.
is.
True.
Moving along, I look forward to see Man United performance on Sunday. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's against Newport, but you know what, guys? At the end of the day, we've seen Bristol beat West Ham. We've seen other teams knock out other teams in the FA Cup. you don't snooze against these
Oh, not at all, not
lower
at all.
league
You do
teams.
that, you
They
yeah,
coming out to win. It's gonna be a big game for them. So we need to go there and just get the business done. Whether we score 2 goals or 4, it's up in the air, bro. As long as we win the game. I hope we score 4, so maybe we could see a lot of the youths come out in the second half and see what they could do.
you can
But
do, yeah,
yeah, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
basically,
I
that was
get you.
just it, guys. We touched, thoughts on Omar Barada. Ten Hag is happy with the appointment. He feels like it brings structure and much needed vision, and also as someone who aligns with his principles and his ideas of football and
Hmm.
what United needs going forward. I don't know if you guys agree, but I also think that's very, very important and is key to us being progressing. Ten Hag also decided that he's not getting a replacement for Anthony Martial. He says the squad is full, there is no room, so he's unable to bring in any new players. At the same time, he's confirmed that Altair Bayender will start against Newport on Sunday, guys. So be there and be square. You know what I mean? Oh, Manchester ladies lost 2-1 to Chelsea today, guys. Was a tough
Yeah,
fixture for the ladies.
speaking about that, I heard Chelsea made a world record signing for striker in the women's team.
Yeah. Something like that. But it's Chelsea, bro. They got the money. They spend a lot. Another big news happening today, not really Man United, but affects Man United. Jurgen Klopp resigns effectively from the end
Let
of
me
the
let me
season.
clear this with Mando Tata. So, Mark, you're saying that if Ten Hag goes to Liverpool, you might just give up your season ticket and follow him to Liverpool, or you might just leave United for sure.
That's
Just
not it. That's not it. Hold on.
so we got to clear this before Mando Tata start running
Manu
out here.
Tata, I don't know if you're going to see this, right? But I want you to see this. You see that? You see that, Manu Tata? I just want you to understand, right? Where my loyalties lie. Right? My loyalties lie with Manchester United, bro. I've been a Man United fan since 1991 or 92. Probably as long as you. And at the same time, I was lucky enough to be one of the faithful that actually have a legend of the club that's also from my nation.
Hmm.
Which makes it even more intrinsic and to me now, bro. So, in my honest opinion, is like, bro, I could only support one football club, as Manchester United, and I do really like Eric Ten Hag, and I'm telling fans,
Yeah, yeah.
just give
Before
him some time.
let me just
Because
let me just chip this in right now. When Ten Hag was in when that Ten Hag was at Ajax, right? We A lot of fans were like, "Yo, this is the next best thing, right? Next up and coming manager, right?" See, but no, Manu Tata, just listen, right? We say Ten Hag at Ajax. Most people were like, "This is the next upcoming manager, right?" And people were tipping
facts,
him to say, "Okay, if we don't get him the time we got him, right?" There was a high chance that either Liverpool or what should I
City
call it,
or
City
Madrid.
or Madrid or even Barcelona, because I remember
Exactly.
Terry Henry was saying that he told the Barcelona board to like go get Eric Ten Hag right after the one season at Ajax, and most of us were saying no to Poch because we saw what Poch did at Tottenham. Although people tend to say okay, he took them to the finals of the Champions League, right? But and it went through. I think it went through Eric Ten Hag's Ajax side to get to the final, right? But and we said we wanted Eric Ten Hag. We didn't want Poch because we felt like Eric Ten Hag would be the right manager, right? Now Eric Ten Hag comes in 1 year. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we said it. You know what we said? That we told you so. He's gonna be the manager. Is the next best thing, up and coming, and all of that, and all of that." Season two, all of a sudden, the up and coming, we told you so manager that was supposed to be the next best thing is not crap.
Exactly.
How? So when I get into the argument, like how?
Like
So
I agree with this.
I
We
agree
like
with you,
him
Man
not
Lutata.
because
You
he
said
was
we liked,
successful at
yeah.
Ajax, but because we love our club so much that we wanted to see our successful us ourselves successful under Eric Ten Hag. But
But the question
listen,
now,
man, that's not Drexler, but let's address this one a little bit first, right? And I just wanted to say this, right? A lot of fans are upset when Eric Ten Hag said, he can't play Ajax ball. But when that comma came in, a lot of people perceived it as a period. Because he said we can't play Ajax ball because we don't have the players suitable for that system. Right? We
yeah,
have to play a
they
system
cut that
suitable to the
out.
players that we have. And that is factual. Now we could play Ajax ball and the football could look very nice. But then we could be intent like Chelsea for the
Or
first
even
6 months of the
worse. Or
season,
even
guys.
worse.
Or even worse. Now my thing is maybe we might not play exactly Ajax ball. And yeah, it wasn't great because if guys really deep the heat maps from game 1 to game week 21, right? It will show that we always ever did only play a single pivot.
Hmm.
But what you could see is the difference between game week 1 and game week 21 is that the 8th position in the games that we won, the heat map was covering the spaces where the 6 was needed coverage during games. And the games that we lost, the person who was playing the 8th position was not playing the position and covering where they should have been covering. Look at it again. And this is where stats is important. And this is where you had to look at it from a logistic from a perspective where there is progress. But the progress that everybody want to see is not that major yet. But if you look at micro progressions in the team, we creating more chances. We defending more compact. We playing the ball out from the back better. You know, we getting the ball forward. We winning more balls up. We are the top team we in second place for winning the balls in the opposition side of the field. Second place in the league for winning the balls
Hmm.
in
In the
advanced
position,
position.
yeah, in advanced position. Yeah, that's
Right?
right.
So which means is if we actually get an 8, we're going to solve the problem that we have in, which means with players coming in with a man who holding that position to provide support for the 6 and going forward to provide support for the attack.
Hmm.
Then our team will function like a oil machine.
100.
The biggest problem with our team is clinicality, and you can't coach that really, bro. You could train these players to take shots on target 5 times a week. When the game come,
No,
they actually have to do
you
it.
know, you know how I know that we are not getting things right with what the instruction the manager is passing at them, giving to them. Mark and Dre, forget all their extra. Tell me how many silly mistakes and unforced errors he did so far. Let's take the keeper's mistake. He took our point to give him a chance. When okay, Mando Tata, like you rightly said, this season, most of our mistakes or our goals, the goals that we've conceded, right, are um errors made by individuals. Majority made by individuals, a few made as a team, right? We'll leave it at that. Now you're saying it took the AFCON for him to give chance to the Turkish keeper. Let's wait and see what the Turkish keeper can do. Because guess what? You and I are not in the training ground week in, week out. You and I, maybe uh, he sees something and said, okay, you know what? Maybe Onana is just edging this guy. But guess what? I'm going to give this guy the chance because you're right, Onana is not available. Who do I give? Some people were actually saying, give Tom Heaton the chance to tell you how deep it was. Some people were saying, Manu Tata, I'm telling you, some people were saying, give Tom Heaton a chance, right? I've seen I don't like to look at compilation, but I've seen a compilation of Bayonde's goalkeeping, right? That he was totally flop. But I'm like, when you see that compilation and you see the other one that says that makes him look good, okay, you don't know what to expect. You know what? I'm saying, let me just wait for this guy to be in between the sticks and let me see it. I'm not gonna judge him off the Newport game. I want him to see myself and Mark, right? Were one of the people that among the people that were crying out to say give this guy, even way back. Remember that game we went off the international break? We said we'd love to see this guy get some game time prior to the AFCON. But it did not happen because Onana himself took us out of the Champions League and wanted to redeem himself, right? But it's still not happening because whether we like it or not, in the real world, if you and I have been charged with a tax to do a tax and we keep coming short, we know we're giving our best, right? But we know it's just some little bit of fine margins that's making us fall short. We would want to be given chance to actually say, you know what, I could brush this mistake off. I could actually do better. Now, so
100%. And
so
Drex,
when
no. Drex
so
could tell you guys that I am basically right at this moment, I'm Onana out of the club
so when
entirely.
you
Get him
when
out.
you when you get so the manager is sticking with what, 50 something year old. Do you think Eric Ten Hag and come to him, it was sensible for him to say at
I
that
think it
time?
was. I
Bro,
mean,
man,
bro, like, you know what?
everybody's
I
gonna
think
big up
everybody
themselves.
looked in
Don't
too
see,
deep on
everybody's
this
gonna,
thing.
yo, man, people are taking this thing too deep. Everybody's gonna big up. So you want to go to a new job and start acting like Graham Potter? That doesn't show. No, man.
Bro,
Whether you
you
like
know,
whether you
listen,
like it or not,
if
whether you
I'm
like it or
manager, in
not,
my
yeah.
opinion, from
Mhm.
watching football all my life, if our manager never really had something iconic or iconic phrase that was a novelty or was let's say viral, you know, in this times is viral, like a phrase that went viral, then he wasn't a good
This is
manager in the
this
league.
is not this era comes to an end. It was because of the, like you rightly said, the social media that's actually blowing it out of proportion. The man just said something. They asked the man the question. You're coming into a league where you have Klopp and you have Pep dominating the league, right? And the man simply says, "Era does come to an end. Era does
Exactly,
come."
bro.
When I heard it, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this man is right because guess what? Not everything is absolute. Nothing stays forever. United were successful
Exactly.
for a very long time, but guess what? It ended at a point, and
And
we've been down in the valleys for this long, and I'm saying, guess what? It's gonna end at a point, and we'll get back there.
exactly.
So
And you guess
nothing
what
stays
era he probably
forever.
was talking about? The Man
Mhm.
United era of being trust and not winning
Trust. That's
trophies.
what I
And
was
he did
thinking.
end that, if you want to be fair. He ended Man
That's what.
United
So
era of not winning trophies.
people were attaching that comment to, okay, that's how he was being cocky and all of that. In my opinion, man, I didn't see it as being cocky. You can see it that way, but
So what if he was cocky in
I'm
that
saying I
moment,
did not
bro?
even see it.
Look
But
what he
even
do in
if
his first season. He deserved to be cocky. He come in, Man United finished sixth the season before. He came in, we finished third, and we playing 2 cup finals. That's pretty good for a manager's first season. There are lots of managers never was able to do that. Pep, Klopp
so
didn't do that in their first
when you say
season.
sensible, right? It's subjective, but in my opinion, I don't think it's got anything to do with whether it was sensitive or sensible and insensible. No, I just felt like the man just said what he wanted to say, and yeah, that's it. And funny
Exactly.
enough, he lived to that word in his first season. Like what Mark just said, he lived up to it in his first season. We as fans were happy. Some of us, majority of the fan base, I know a few of them that will forever remain negative, right? But majority of the fan base, they were happy that, yo, man, this guy just came. Okay, let's see if he'd get, with what he could get. Let's see how. But nobody said it was going to be easy. In life, nothing is easy, man. You have to work for it. And guess what? Football is a team sport. So if we leave all the decision or all the heavy lifting on the coach, guess what? He's gonna break. We would end up disliking him because
Exactly.
he is gonna break. So
You
in
need
football, there is in life, division of labor. In the workspace, division of labor. Everybody knows their duty. Now, reports came out the other day, says senior figures were saying they were being wary at the amount of time he kept repeating a particular instruction to them, right? But why would you repeat something to it? In my opinion, it's only people that you're trying to teach something new, like example, pupils in school, student at the university that you're trying to inculcate knowledge into. You have to do a repetitive form of learning. Repetition is part of learning. It's a repetitive form of learning. So not everybody is going to get it at a go. There are some people that you'd have to keep repeating until they get it. So Oh man, do you believe only time will tell us more about Eric, or it will be judged according to the support he got from the club? Since if tomorrow is sacked, he would have some support. See, there was a comment that was made on earlier today on MEFC Raiders TV's coverage of the press conference. The guy said something like, um, Ineos would have had a thought about Eric Ten Hag before getting into the room. Once they got into the room and saw how chaotic it was, they were like, oh, damn, this guy's done a good job with what is
Exactly.
happening.
And
So
that's exactly how I
I don't.
feel.
Do you believe time will tell us more about him? When you say, "Do I believe time will tell us more about him?" I'm going to put it in this way: time will tell us more about Eric Ten Hag in two ways. Was he that good? Was he the person that we actually we perceive he was, or he didn't meet up to that? Because guess what? We as United fan, we held him to a standard because we saw how Ayers were playing. Not just because they were successful, we saw how they were playing and we liked it. I did not see. I didn't get a lot of sample size from Eric Ten Hag's game at Ajax. I saw him play Dortmund, one Champions League game. I saw him play Dortmund. His teams played Dortmund, and I was like, if they would ever sack Ole now and bring this guy to me. That I and Ole was
You
doing
see,
fine.
I was at that game. I was at that game watching it, bro,
I
live.
saw him play Borussia Dortmund the way his team dismantled Borussia Dortmund. I said to myself, if they were going to sack Ole now, I'll take this guy. But you know what? Sack Ole, and give me this guy.
Yeah. And you know what, guys? Like, I don't regret wanting Eric Ten Hag, you know. What I would regret is we never gave him a structure similar to what Ajax had in a Man United way that could help him bring in the talent for fit his profiles for his team and the right ethos around him. A club that have an ideology where they want to be, where they want to go, and how they're gonna go about it. That is what I would be regretful about because at the end of the day, I don't question his managerial skills. I'm open to managers making mistakes. I think it happens. I think sometimes managers make bad substitutions but still win a game because the bad substitution somehow paid off. Sometimes they make a
Mhm.
great substitution
And he
and they don't
does.
win a game and it
Yeah.
looked like a bad
See,
substitution.
see
But
the example. For example, see the game against Tottenham. He brought McTominay in. If McTominay has put his head down with that last kick, with that cross, and we got the 3-2, everybody will be singing, "Oh, Ten
exactly
Hag made a good."
masterclass. So
Manu Tata, I'm going to give you this, right? Think about this. I don't know. See, to me, from what you said about supporting United from '92, you look like someone that is actually up there in terms of with the matured United fans, right? The people, someone that actually reasons, and I like people like that, and not just the ones that just like, you know. I'm saying deep this down. If Pep, after 3 seasons, was given the sack, right? Would we have known? Because people say Pep is a good coach from Dortmund. Would you have drawn the same conclusion? Because guess what?
I mean club.
Um, Klopp, sorry, my bad. Klopp, jogging Klopp, sorry, my bad, Klopp. Because guess what? United approached him. He said he didn't want to come to United because United.
Yeah, but
Uh,
he was let down though, man, with Tata. I
I,
I
I,
would I would say
Man
100%
Lutata,
he was.
I would. Let me just finish this, right? Klopp was good at Dortmund, and he got to Liverpool. The first 2 3 years, they were struggling. They weren't getting the result that everybody thought that Klopp was going to bring, knowing fully well what Klopp was at Dortmund, right? If that fired him at that time, do you
Never win a
think
league.
do you think we would have seen this Klopp that we saw in the last couple of years or in the last 3 4 years? No, because guess what? They saw progression. For me, in our team, there's progression.
Mhm.
Last season there was, this season not so much. We could put I would not want to do that, but people can put the excuse on what should I call it, on the injuries and what he's got to deal with, the uncertainty of the takeover and all of that, right? I've told Mark before in a previous stream. I said, for me, if give this guy, Ineos comes in and say, okay, you know what, you have 1 more year left. We are not going to terminate your contract. Guess what? There's no finances to pay you off. We're going to the cheapest thing for us to do is put the structure behind you, support you, and see. If in that 1 year time, guess what? He has 1 more year to go. If in that 1 year time, he doesn't meet up to Ineos expectation, guess what? Because the Glazers they don't know what they are doing. If he doesn't meet up to Ineos expectation and Ineos decide to put the axe on him, I don't have a problem.
Exactly.
Because I would have said to myself, you know what? He's been given the right structure like he was used to at Ajax. CEO, director of football, scouting team that goes do their job and come and give him report, and he says, okay, this is what I want, this is what everybody comes to a table and reason football, not I'm reasoning football, you are reasoning figures. I'm trying to reason a player, you are trying to reason how to balance book. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if at that time he gets sacked, so be it. But let me see this your comment. Say, Mark, this club was an open book for everyone to see in terms of what's happening in the club. So saying he didn't get structures like he was let down. But Man Lutata, can you categorically say to yourself and be convinced and said Eric Ten Hag had something going for him in terms of structure? My answer is no. John Motto, when last did you see, every time I saw John Motto come to say something to the press, it's always coming to talk about the general transfer window where we don't get to spend. 3 years or 4 years he's been as director of football, 3 years if I'm not mistaken, or 4. He's never spoken to the media. Every time he comes to talk, he's coming to talk about the general transfer where we end up not spending anything. That's people tend to attribute a few things, Genasho and the rest to him. I don't do that. I'm not going to fall for that. Man is not good at what he doesn't have the reputation of some of his colleagues in that department. Is he can you really say Motor is a true sportman in terms of football and all of that? No,
Bro,
he deals with figures. Man
it's just
can
my
tell you.
honest opinion as a fan, bro. Right? It's just me as a fan, right? I think Murtaugh is incompetent. I think Richard Arnold is incompetent. I think most of the backroom staff are incompetent. I think our negotiators are incompetent. I think some of our coaching staff are inept and incompetent, especially the set piece coaches, right? And the reason why I will say this is because,
Add the
listen, right?
goalkeeper coach to that too.
Coming from, but okay, the reason why I would say this is because these are individuals who I would think gain amongst the highest remunerations for their services, and they don't do, even in my opinion, they don't even break even doing the job in a good fashion, like reasonably well. They do their job at the basic standard, which is not even par for me, right? If I was running United, I'd fire them years ago, all of them, because I don't care if I'm making 100. I don't care if I'm making 500 million a year, bro. If the club not winning football games at the same time and competing for the legacy and the history of this club, I am failing as a owner, bro. Right? Failing completely. Right? And if I was John Murtaugh, as a real person looking in the mirror in real life, I would have been laughing at myself because I selling myself a dream, because all I really doing is taking money for free and giving away money for free. Because, like, bro, you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that 90% of the contracts that John Murtaugh do was rubbish. You know what I mean? In the last 10 years, some of the players we signed was a madness. Now, I could only be mad at the Anthony signing because it cost 90 million. It should have cost 45. No one would have cared. You know what I mean? And this is the problem with having individuals at a club that supposed to be good at their jobs, that probably think that they are good at their jobs. But look at the performance, bro. The performance is there to be seen. And maybe they have promised Eric Ten Hag they would form a better structure around him. Maybe they promised him that they would have sold some of these players, they would have fired and replaced some of the CEO or something during his tenure. We don't know all of this. In fact, I think the media has been so Ten Hag out and negative that everything that they write is directed to make him look bad. Look, they said he forcing Martial out. When Martial was just taking time off to have a surgery so he don't have to play for the club and still get paid. They say he treated Jadon Sancho so harshly. But look at Jadon Sancho at Dortmund. He's happy to go to training because he has someone picking him up and treating him like a child. You know, they pick him up and take him to training, pick him up, take him to team meetings. You know, they have a PlayStation, they have an Xbox set up in the facilities for him to get his game on when he wants. You know, people catering to him. Everyone doesn't have to cater to a player. So I don't blame Eric Ten Hag for expecting a player who's earning 375k a week to have the same big belly bollocks, right? To say, well, you know what? You can't say this thing about me, but to come out on the field and prove him wrong. And that is where courage stands for me, right? We can't be blaming a manager who we know for a fact the poster child of the club has sacked 2 or 3 managers before because they didn't think he was good enough. But somebody on the board believes that he's amazing and he's unsackable. Rather sack the coach over some players. People out here acting like Eric Ten Hag is such a terrible coach when we have probably the worst bunch of homegrown players in the last decade of any club. When you look at the likes of Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, and you look at some of the other Englishmen at other clubs, we probably have the worst bunch. But people mad. You know what I mean? People arguing about Dutch players and Spanish players and the history of United when we always was winning. 3 contingents are always present in our United squad. A Dutch player, a Brazilian, and a Portuguese. Google it if you all don't know. You understand? People feel we just win with when we have a player from each of those contingents in our squad, we have a winning season. Check the statistics, guys, if you all don't believe me. Ruud van Nistelrooy from where? People is talk about United scouting, bro, when they don't even know that all the other scouting does piggyback off of United scouts. How you think they found Julian Alvarez? You think Man City scouts suddenly found him? No, they found him because Man United was offered him. It's the same thing with Benfica and Enzo Fernandez. He was offered to a Man United scout. And that is how other people find him. Same thing with Moises Caicedo. So many youngsters is be scouted by Man United, but is the recruiters not recruiting them because, you know, they want to pay attention to homegrown. And that was the issue. The issue wasn't,
So does
you
this
know,
mean that,
the
does this
issue
mean
is
the
not
Gla-
Ten Hag choosing to sell the young players. People even think that Ten Hag is the one who was in charge of selling all the players on loan this season. It wasn't. It was the director of football. Who that was? John Murtaugh.
See, I see. Like, to answer this question, does that mean Mando Tata? That mean the Glazers were let down by the people running the club? They were in America, yes, far and away, but the British board should be blamed. You're gonna look at this from 2 perspectives. This is how I tend to look at it. One, if you have an establishment, a business, and for some reason, right, um, for some reason they are not producing, people tend to be complaining about what you have. Don't forget that fan groups and fans were protesting against these guys from the minute they got the club, right? Now, one would say, okay, cut them some slack. They just walked through the door, cut them some slack. Let's see what they could do. Now, these guys are trying to, in the time of Ferguson was still here, they won a few things, right? They brought in, they handed the keys to the kingdom, the keys of the kingdom to Head Woodward and say, okay, run the show. You got us this business, run the show and let's see. Ed Woodward, because Ed Woodward was more interested in numbers, handing numbers, positive numbers to them, they see, okay, well, my thing is doing well, right? Now, this is where I fault them for not having or not taking the time to actually come see your company. Just believing and reading reports that's been handed to you, right? So they in themselves, they are to be blamed for not coming to on ground. We see how Sajim have been on ground and what's not, and that was one of the things people were holding against Sheikh Jassim, that we've not seen him physically, quote and unquote. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing: come on ground let people see you. Let you not just let people see you, see what's happening. You can't have a business and it's rotten, and you because somebody's giving you improved numbers, you say okay. It's not a drug business. It's not, you can't have those kind. So for me, on their part, they were wrong. On the other part that you made mention of, people, yes, people did let them down, because guess what? The likes of Ed Woodward hiring his mate job for the boys felt like if we were giving them the numbers, cut broken out good deals, it doesn't matter. But they forgot that it was success on the pitch that got United to that stage. Now, not maintaining the success at the pitch, look at where it's got us to now. That the Glazers themselves have to do a strategic review to see how they could maybe sell part of the club or sell the whole club or even get an investment. So on that note, you could say actually the people that they put in charge to run the club lets them down, but they let themselves down by not being present. Like if I own something like United, and I don't want to go, say because I just don't feel like going to see the place, I should at least employ somebody like a personal assistant that I would be sending there maybe every month or every 3 months to give not just read report that's been handed to me or emailed to me. Go there and see, talk to people, talk to the staff on ground, hear their concern. Bro, they do it. The big companies, they do it. When they have smaller units, they send people there to hear the concerns of these people, hear what's happening on ground, and see what's happening, so that they can actually form a concise decision as to how to move the club forward. One of the reasons why I feel like Joe Glazers and the rest don't try to sign up the check when they're being asked to is because they are being told one thing and they are hearing a different thing, and they're like, okay, how do we marry these two differences? Because whether we like it or not, these guys are businessmen that wouldn't want to just throw money away. So this is where I blame them. This is where the blame for me come on them. Why don't you get yourself down there and see what's happening, as to just reading reports? So on both sides, they let themselves down, but the board and whoever is there themselves down as well. Because you what are you trying to do? You sacked Davis Moyes. You didn't do anything serious. You were just papering over the crack. You brought Mourinho. You sacked him. Nothing serious. You said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to be interim. For all we knew, he didn't, because of a couple of results. You said because the fans were saying Ole at the wheel. You just wrote. You decided to go with the fans, and he gave him the job and sacked him. You understand? So for me, it just shows a high level of incompetence, and that people didn't know what they were doing in terms of football. For the figure aspect, those guys were good. Don't get me wrong, those guys were good when it came to the figure, but those guys were good, but it had a cap, and we all saw it. Once the Glazers knew that cap was reached, there was no way. It's either they sell or they just go crumbling down, and they had to take something. They had to give to get. So it is what it is. They let themselves down. The people that they've hired let them. That's why when you see Jim is coming in now, is trying to get, even if like we all know, they say Jim. I don't know how true it is, but they say Jim can't stay in the UK for a long period of time. But he's got his body in there. He's got Bradford in there. Somebody that will be on ground to actually look, to do, you know, to snooze and to put his put his ears on the ground to hear things, right? So that's how you run a business of such magnitude. That's how you do it. So you don't just read off the report that's sent to you, but you actually have ears on the ground. Somebody's telling you this is, so what I'm reading on the report is coinciding with what I've been told from the visual thing. That's how I see it, man. So that's why I'm not too giddy about the 25%. I'm just saying, from what I'm seeing, they're actually doing what, in my opinion, I would have done as an owner of United, but they're actually doing it. So I'm like, you know what? If it's this thing, if what they're doing is something I would do, then I don't think anything could go wrong, Big up yourself, Luan. Big up yourself.
You want to know something, Drex?
See,
I
let
think the
us.
the problem with the Glazers, and this is why I will blame the Glazers majorly. Like, I wouldn't blame Murtaugh, Arnold, and the backroom staff. You know why? Because they all work. If I was the boss, they work for me. Now, it reflects on my attitude, my ethics, and my drive and determination. My staff would reflect that. And when you see how they have been performing for the last decade, and let's say that's just the last decade, guys, then that's a reflection of the Glazers' enthusiasm about the club. They was just caring about, they were satisfied with the amount of money they were making and the increases every year in the amount of money they were making, and they didn't care for anything
They
else.
didn't care, yeah.
I would say the Glazers' fault would be 79.9%. And then I would say the backroom, the board and backroom staff would be another 10%. And then I would give Eric Ten Hag
What's that?
9%. Because I really want to blame the players as well. But you know
No,
what?
that's why we can't
Sometimes
bring. No, we
when they
can't. Let
give
me.
the culture, when they give a culture among employees, bad habits, you could only expect bad. You know what I mean?
100%.
And guys, you know what? I just wanted to say from me before Drex closes, thank you so much for joining us, taking your time out to join us today and get your comments in. Don't forget to smash the like buttons and subscribe. Don't forget to also check out Drex's channel at D Hub Sports, guys, because he's always doing his thing and he's covering the AFCON. So, guys, that's how the stream comes to me because Drex is doing those streams. Big up to Drex. Thanks for coming in, my bro. Thanks
All
to
right,
you
man.
guys.
Anytime. Let me just quickly finally before we wrap up. Now, I hear you, man, Lutata. You're looking at it at a 50-50%. Yeah, 50-50, and I wouldn't do that. You're saying that Eric Ten Hag has as much power as the Glazers. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. The Glazers employed Eric Ten Hag, right? So if something is wrong, I would attribute it to the head. We know that we know that there are some players in that club that are untouchable. Is that supposed to be? Are we supposed to be having players that are untouchable? Some will argue yes, but the truth is, it's been like that for a long period of time. That is, most players now see it as a right. Like when I come to United, I have the right to do whatever I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I have the right. The manager ain't got nothing on me. If he does too much, I go cry up to the higher hierarchy and they deal with him. So there's already a player's mentality where they know they could disrespect the manager. But in a real world,
100%.
in a business sense, because United are a business, not a football club like they claim to do, those things shouldn't be happening.
Never ever.
Those things shouldn't be happening.
Never
Your
ever.
success, see, that's why I would say for me, percentage wise, I give the Glazers 80% fault. Mark actually has it covered. 80% for them. There's a section for those guys that they put down there to take another maybe 10. Then maybe 10 on Eric. I will not exempt Eric Ten Hag from this, but I say 10% at Eric Ten Hag's feet because he's the manager. He should be able to work. But guess what? He did work some things last year, right? But this year
But
not
you
so
can't
much.
always work magic, bro. That's
Yeah,
my
but
honest opinion.
yeah, so he did work something out last year, but this year not so much. That's okay. 10%, allocate 10% fault to him. Right? Now, if we get structures, if the new owners come and do what you and I would do if we own a business of this magnitude, and they do it, and Eric Ten Hag been having 1 year left in his contract, guess what? That's a motive. That's a having 1 year left in your contract with the mindset of, okay, are they going to give me another extra year? So I would want, that's another extra motive for him to want to do well in the last year of his contract with these guys. So
100%.
so when you look at it, bro, man, when you look at it, people, just, I know it's hurting to see how we play. It doesn't really coincide with what we expect. But guess what? Some players have been here. See the likes of Marshall running down. When this is the same manager that stood with Marshall last season and was saying that Marshall was one of his best players. When he came in, saw how Marshall was. Because when you go into a new role, people will want to impress you. For some of us, we're very quick at noticing who is actually saying, who is actually true to themselves, or who's just pretending. But for some other people, it takes time to actually see it because you want to give everybody a clean slate. This is the same Sancho, the same Sancho that the manager pampered last season with the board, and they treated him right, only for the manager to just make a comment saying you didn't train properly this last week, not the previous week, not what has been going on, just this last week, and you threw a tantrum. I'm like, I can't really marry it. So when I say, so most of these players already know that the owners would not do. Mourinho wanted to get rid of Martial. Joe Glazers came and said, no, he's not getting rid of Martial because that's his Pele. That's, to him, that's Pele. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. So when you look at this, you will know where the problem is. When you look at it, you will know how much percentage you're going to attribute to the Glazers and how much you're going to attribute to Eric Ten Hag and the rest. That's all I have to say. But just note at the back of your mind that Eric Ten Hag has one more year in his contract. If and when, I hope he's given until at least let him see out his contract. If any time between the summer of this summer 2024 and next summer 2025, if he doesn't meet up to whatever is being discussed at their meeting with the new structure, right? Because guess what? In a couple of weeks, everything will be ratified, right? So if there's going to be discussions and there's going to be new terms on board, so if Eric Ten Hag does not meet up to their terms and conditions and they decide to pull the axe and just be like, you know what, you're going to see out this contract, we're not going to extend your contract, fine, take it. But as for now, the Glazers don't have the right to actually sack yet another manager. They don't have the right because they themselves, they are not worthy to be the owners of this club. Thank you.
Before we go, bro, let's just get our quick predictions. You know, Sheffield is taking on Coventry. It's live already. Sheffield Wednesday. You know, Chelsea's taking on Villa. I say Villa gonna knock them out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Forest go and knock out Bristol City.
Mm-hmm.
I think City will probably beat Tottenham tomorrow.
No, Tottenham going to take out City.
I hope they do. What do you think about Sheffield and Coventry, guys? You know, I think Sheffield might do well, you know?
Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry? I see Coventry taking that one.
Oh, man, Lutata say he betting on Villa and Spurs. Yeah, I feel Villa will smash Chelsea up, man. You know what I mean? So, you know what, guys? Let's look forward to Sunday. You know, Drex and I, we will certainly be back, you know, to do the preview for the weekend stream, for that stream, which will be tomorrow evening, guys. Stay tuned. Probably when Drex has confirmed the time with me that he's available tomorrow, because, you know, he has lots more responsibilities than I do at the moment. So, guys, yeah, Sheffield Wednesday are traditionally good in cup, so it might be tough for Coventry to see that one out. Guys, thanks for having us. Thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for all the comments and the likes. You know, Manu Tata, big up to you being here from the very beginning to the end. And Stephanie Griffith, as well as Luan, coming in big. Big up to all of you, Drex, my bro. Thank you for coming. Hope you all have a great evening. Don't forget to join us later on at the happy hour. And guys, enjoy the Friday. You know what I mean? Klopp is leaving Liverpool. Eric Ten Hag has Omar Barada for help now. It can't get any better than this unless United finishes in top 4 and wins the FA Cup. Guys, be seeing you all later. Hope you all have a great one. From Mark and MUFC fan and your boy Admiral Drex. You know that I keep pointing to my right, but he's actually on my, you know.
Yeah. All right, guys, take it easy. Big up, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Have a good night. Oh.